Video games, and especially retro video games, have gained tons of popularity recently, and whether you're a younger person wanting to play some older titles that you weren't around for, or an older person trying to relive some of that childhood nostalgia, there's definitely room for everyone to get into this hobby. However, as it always...
It's not. I've been saying I recently got an emulator on my PC. I think I'm gonna try to edit. I'm gonna play a little bit of Zelda after this, in a legal manner. Who knows? But I don't know if some of y'all think I'm capping about my DS. Bada bang, bada boom. I don't even think it turns on because it's dead. It is dead. It needs a charger. But I'm gonna tell the story again. I brought it to school one day, and I was in tutoring, but my friend, he was like, yo, I'm in this after school club, and it was a really fun club. I forget what it was called, but instead of going to tutoring, I couldn't leave school because I would get in trouble if I was home too early. So I would go to the after school club where they would like give us pizza and whatnot. And this one particular day, they let us go outside. I was playing football with a bunch of people. I remember just boom, hard fall on my right. It was in my right pocket. I checked my DS. It was a little black line on the far right of the screen. So I was like, my parents are going to kill me. I'm not sure if I told them or not. But I left it. I was like, okay, it's just a little back line. I can still play the game. A couple weeks later, it took up like an eighth of the screen. And then it turned into half the screen. And then it's pretty much the whole screen now. I kept on pressing it in because for a while it would work, but I was damaging it even more. So
tends to be with these things is stuff that just isn't being produced anymore. Can be kind of tricky to get a hold of. You could get lucky and find things priced reasonably on your local marketplaces, or even some game stores or online stores such as eBay, Amazon, or Mercari. But more often than not, you are going to run into people that want to make a quick buck preying on people's hobbies. What if I told you that there's a retro video game store that has nearly 1 million subscribers on YouTube, over 2.5 million followers,
and they were getting cooked. DK Oldies was getting cooked on TikTok a while ago. It was a bunch of commentary channels talking about it. I remember just looking at their prices, and it was completely, like, it was absurd. I remember going on the website myself. I'm like, yo, why would somebody pay this amount of money to enjoy, like, old console stuff? Vic told me a couple days ago, she was like, yeah, I was going to buy, I think, a DS. I think that's what she said. But it was basically full price for a DS for old hardware. That's insane.
On TikTok, and was featured in a Mr. Beast video that is continuously ripping off and sometimes even borderline scamming their customers. Today, we take a look at DK Oldies and why it is the most hated video game store. On the surface level, when you first go to the DK Oldies website or take a look at some of their YouTube or TikTok content, it all seems innocent and fun. Most videos usually consist of Joey, who essentially is a worker that's recognized as the face of DK Oldies at this point, acting very engaging as he chooses an order from their site to pack for shipping for the video, while also throwing in a little freebie to film the orders. When I first found these videos, I was actually kind of entertained, which made me want to go and check out their website. I've recently been wanting to replay some of the older Pokemon.
Yo, I had the Pokemon game on the left. I remember I really wanted a Pokemon game. Or I was just really into Pokemon at the time. And my parents got me this game. It wasn't like the traditional Pokemon game. I still had fun with it. But there was this part where like you would be at a picnic or something. You'd be at a picnic and they wouldn't let you leave the stage. And as a kid, I didn't know how to like read instructions. So like it just had me stuck. I kept on trying to leave. And eventually I guess somebody came. But I remember restarting the game multiple times and I would get stuck at this one part. It was so annoying.
Upon looking at their site, everything...
And that's... Do you see a 2DS reselling for $300, right? And let's put it into perspective. The 3DS, those systems were, I think their servers are shutting down sometime this month, I believe, or the shops are closing. But either way, people, this is a console that could potentially still be supported today. It was supported up until like 2018, I believe, when the Switch launched, I think in 2016. But people, they were still releasing things for the 3DS in 2018 because the last revision of the console was the new 3DS XL. And the new 3DS systems with the backplates. So it's not like these consoles are crazy old, right? But there's no reason for an aqua blue 3DS to be $239. That's insane. That's like almost full price when, like, before they had the price cut for the console. Like, originally, I believe it was around that price. They cut it because people weren't buying the 3DS at the time when it first launched, and they made it $170. So to charge that amount, and Nintendo wasn't even charging that amount for the Switches, for the 3DS's life, is crazy. That is highway robbery.
Looked right, except for one important thing, and that was the prices. Now I get it, people can price out of print items at whatever price they want, doesn't mean I have to buy them, but charging nearly double to triple on some of these consoles and games is absolutely absurd. And it's true, there are some people on Reddit that claim that DK Oldies' target audience is the kind of people who are too scared to use eBay or Mercari due to some scams appearing on those sites, but charging someone more than double in order to ensure a product is 100% legit is definitely a scummy thing to do.
Because I can guarantee you that they aren't getting these consoles for that much money. Like, say if they're getting these consoles imported from like Japan or whatever, right? Because I know some of these consoles aren't region locked. I believe the GameCube isn't region locked, right? Just using that for an example. They still sell like GameCube stuff in Japan at like retro shops. So if they get it imported for, pretty low amount of money, imagine the profit that they're making off of these people. I know Lil Yachty, he bought from DK Oldies. Like, it was a big TikTok that they did on their page. And of course, he's not going to care because he has the money, but he's just bringing more people. He's bringing these people more business. And if it I might as well buy it because I think if I get it anywhere else, it's just going to be a huge scam. So
personally, I've used websites like eBay and OfferUp for years now, so I have no problem deciphering a legit deal on there for a fraction of the price. The crazy thing though is that I actually recently bought myself an OG Nintendo 2DS console from another retro video game store in person, not on eBay. The price that I paid for this thing, which by the way is in great shape and came with a charger and even a stylus, was $96 after tax. Fairly similar to what you would find on a site like eBay. Now if we go ahead and take a look at the DK Oldies website, the same console will run you $189.99 before taxes. Do you see how that's a little bit weird?
And imagine that these consoles aren't new and refurbished. I'm about to use OfferUp and see what they have on there. Nice. You could probably even get like a new DS. You could probably get a PSP and mod it yourself on there. Because doing that stuff isn't hard. Right, it's not hard. It's just a matter of like, okay, do I want to go out of my way to learn how to mod a console? It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. I feel like I can do it. If I were like really interested in playing like 3DS games or PS Vita games or whatever. But yeah, a lot of these like reseller sites, like DK Oldies, and I'm sure it's like other places like them, they're scamming people. Like, it's really just, they're scamming people.
Now this is the part of the video where I want to give a huge shout out to channels like Review Tech USA, as well as Jacob R, and other creators in the same retro gaming niche. These creators have been trying to expose DK Oldies for months now and warn people about purchasing from them. Why, you may ask? Are they seriously making multiple videos about an online store that only price gouges their willing buyers? It's not that simple. You see,
yeah, because a lot of the stuff that they, okay, say if I were to buy this console, I heard that some people will get like really dirty things, like, and it'll just, it's not. Let me get my words out, because the quality on these things aren't good. Like, I would get, if it was a brand new console that you were getting for a brand new price, that's understandable. But some of these consoles have already been used, already had, hundreds of hours of games played on them, and they're just reselling it as if it's new. That is an issue. I keep saying it's an issue, but like, that's the biggest problem here.
When you buy a console from DK Oldies, most of the time you are buying a quote-unquote refurbished condition console. Essentially, DK Oldies claims to fix any issues that the console has, whether it's due to use, damage, or just age, clean the console, and test it to make sure that everything works before sending it off to the buyer. You supposedly also get a 1-year warranty on these consoles in case anything happens to go wrong. However, they also place stickers on the consoles, which one are supposedly suggesting and certifying that the consoles have been cleaned and refurbished, and two, it states
$200 for a used console is nuts to me. Exactly. Like, my new Xbox, I think I paid full price for that. That was, I believe it was like close to $300, right? But I know nobody's ever touched it. It's mine, and I'm free to have it for as long as I want. Same with my Switch. I've had my Switch for 3 years now. She's still kicking. She needs a stick replacement, but again, I know that console is mine. I'm gonna keep it. I'm not gonna resell it to somebody knowing that there's a stick drift and try to sell it as if it's brand new. That's insane.
that if you remove the stickers and open up the console yourself, the warranty will be void. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because many creators on YouTube have decided to do the actual reviews of the consoles they've received from DK Oldies to see whether it will function, and more importantly, to see if they were cleaned or refurbished to begin with. And you probably see where this is going. For the most part, they weren't. There's footage of these creators opening up their consoles to find literal dirt and dust on the inside. Sometimes these consoles also just won't even work. Sometimes the fans in the consoles would be insanely loud.
It's loud, but
and when they open up the console,
and man, there is no thermal paste there. Just nothing.
the thermal paste was not changed at all, meaning that there was nothing in place to keep the console nice and cool other than the internal fans. Now, I'm no lawyer, but to me, selling something as refurbished and not refurbishing it kind of seems like false advertising. Once again, I haven't...
Like, is that illegal? Like, is that illegal? Like, because you can't really verify whether they cleaned it or what the cleaning process is, right? All they're saying is, okay, we cleaned it. They could have just wiped it down with the Clorox wipe. They didn't take apart the console. And then, of course, slap a sticker on it. But that doesn't seem like it's legal.
Really, if you go look at the comments on most of their shorts, you will probably find multiple comments on each short filled with people saying something negative regarding their prices, or more importantly, the refurbished situation. So with there being tons of videos made by large creators on YouTube exposing
They charged me $250 for a PSP. Are you lying about that, or is that true? Because like the fact that I even have to say that is crazy, because that seems like something they would do.
Oldies, what has been their response? Have they addressed some of these issues and apologized? Have they debunked all the different creators posting very similar reviews about them? No, they've done neither. DK Oldies instead resulted to the good old deflection method. Essentially, they've just found shorts of people quote-unquote reviewing some of their purchases in a positive light and reposted them on their page to use as a response to all the negative media.
And like, I get it, right? If people are claiming that you don't do a certain thing, and in this case, we don't know, right? And it's not looking favorable in their case, right? They think, okay, as long as we ignore it, we'll be perfectly fine. Because as soon as they address it, the floodgates open. I feel like they'll just crack under pressure and just shut everything down at that point, because they know it's unacceptable. Like, they know it's unacceptable. You know, like, why not just like, hey, maybe if you return it, we'll clean it for you again and we'll send it right back. You know, that would build up a good rapport for them, and people probably wouldn't cut them, or would cut them a little bit of slack, but they're just choosing to ignore everything as if all the stuff they're doing is normal.
Last thing I want to touch on is that I also found an alleged former employee named Jigsaw who uploaded a video titled, "I used to work for DK Oldies, it's a scam." Now the video has since been deleted, but in that video, Jigsaw spoke about how DK Oldies did their refurbish process and whether they even opened up the systems. Check it out.
I feel like, before we get into it, like, I feel like, okay, this was real. Like, this was a disgruntled employee that did work for DK Oldies, and, you know, whatever, work conditions were terrible, had working 1 million hours, but I feel like they might have sent like a cease and desist or something, hence why the video is gone. But on the other hand, it could be not true, and he got too much clout or whatever, and then decided to delete it because, you know, it's a bad prank or something. Who knows? He knows. Pointing at God.
So he would not open every system that came in. Like, a lot of the time we would just test the system to see if it worked, you know, like testing it with a game and stuff, and that was something that would be like really quick, like you know, putting in Super Mario Brothers into an NES and seeing if the image and the audio comes on, and that would be enough to test the system. The system totally works. They would not open it. They wouldn't open it to see if there was maybe something that would cause a problem later, if there was like some damage that wasn't affecting it right now but was going to affect it soon. Nothing like that. And then
in defense of DK Oldies, right, if they're getting a whole bunch of consoles in, you know, every week, let's say they have like I don't know, like 200 consoles that they get every week, right? That is a lot. How are they going to test every single one by the end of that week? You know, the worker looks like my sleep paralysis demon in the nicest way possible. That's rude, man.
You know, we would get it as shippers and we'd clean the outside of it. We were told to do it as quickly as we could, and so we were told to clean like specifically the areas that people would see every single time they used the system. So controller ports, cartridge slots, stuff like that. But yeah, we weren't supposed to open it. So that right there proves, I think, that it's a scam. They didn't anticipate anybody would open these things, because that's the whole point of the void warranty sticker. They did that to deter people from opening up their systems and finding out that we had never cleaned the inside of them. I didn't think...
And what he's saying makes a lot of sense, but how do we know he actually worked for DK Oldies? Like, I'm sure like anybody can come to this conclusion, so I would want to see his I would want him to verify that he was an ex-employee, you know, like a name tag or, you know, a shirt or video of him in a store or something, you know, like some sort of evidence to justify what he's saying.
I think it was fair that we were making people spend more money than they had to on systems that were just absolutely disgusting inside. I guarantee you could probably get a cleaner system off of eBay than you could from DK Oldies.
Now, once again, I don't think this guy has any reason for lying about being employed at DK Oldies previously or how they've handled business, but regardless, take this information with a grain of salt, as it hasn't been officially confirmed by DK Oldies themselves. But if this is true, this just goes to show how scummy the whole brand is. Charging ridiculous prices while also not giving people working as described or refurbished/cleaned is despicable, in my opinion. I'm not sure how the law works on items like this, but like I said earlier, to me this seems like a full case of false advertisement. But here's the biggest problem, and that is that none of this matters. DK Oldies still has multiple millions of followers across social media. They still sell tons of merchandise, probably every...
Oh my gosh, I would crack somebody if I saw them in a World of T-shirts. I said World of T-shirts. I'm already on the next video. If I saw somebody with a DK Oldies logo hat, come here. Come here. Yeah. And that is a crazy thing. Like, none of this is really gonna affect their business because it's always gonna be people who, you know, are just gonna buy the retro console from them because, you know, it's the safest, the easiest, the probably the fastest way to get a new console. So none of this really affects what they're doing, but it does suck that it is happening. So I'm a little dyslexic.